Thank you for taking the time to join today's webinar session. Today we're going to be talking about the Zoho One journey, that is from an applicant to an employee. So my journey with Zoho began with this specific career site. As an ambitious kid, I landed on Zoho's career site where I was able to view a number of job openings available, among which I selected this technical support engineer posting. And not knowing much about a technical support engineer, I was able to read the job description and found this would most suit my profile. So I clicked on the I am interested button and applied for this specific job posting. So a few days later, I received this specific invite in my Gmail inbox. So this was a video interview link which I joined and was conducted by a HR person from Zoho. And I was able to successfully complete my interview session. A few days later, I received an email along with this specific email to complete my offer letter signature. As a kid, this was quite new to me. So I clicked on start signing and I completed a digital signature for my offer letter. So once my offer letter was accepted, in a few days, I received another email with a specific link. So this was a candidate onboarding process, and I was able to access a specific portal where I was able to upload my personal data along with a few documents and complete the candidate onboarding process. And on my mentioned date of joining, I received another email with this specific link to join a Zoho One organization. So when I confirmed my login, I was able to join a system called a Zoho One and enrolled as an employee in Zoho. This was my journey in Zoho. And it always fascinated me how this system actually works and what would be the working behind this. In that sense, let's talk about the process of recruitment and employee management. So in today's day and age, due to the number of job boards available in the internet, recruitment is becoming a tedious process for all the recruiters. As a recruiter, you would need to post a job opening to multiple job boards available to provide maximum visibility of the job opening to your candidates, and in turn, hire the right talent for the right opening. Let's start today's webinar with the story of John. John is a senior accountant in a reputed organization. John was always ambitious and wanted to move forward. So John had an idea one day of starting his own organization and providing his own services to his customers. So John, with a lot of struggle, started his own organization with the help of few of his friends and peers. John was successful and was able to make a good turnover and profit. Then came the time that John needed to hire new talent for his organization. As a startup, John was able to manage his hiring process in forms of referrals and word of mouth. So John used to conduct interviews and manage his candidate data in form of Excel sheets. This worked for John initially. But as his organization grew in number and size, the recruitment became a tedious process for John. A few of John's complications were, due to the number of job boards available in the internet, John needed to post the job opening to multiple job boards. This became manual and recursive. And due to the number of job boards and the distinct nature of them, when candidates applied, they were tracked individually within the individual job boards. So it's not a single point of place where you can view all the candidates. Hence, recruiters faced difficulties with screening candidates. There was a poor collaboration between recruiters because if one recruiter was absent, the other wasn't able to follow up with the candidate. There was no proper email communication between the recruiter and the candidate, as well there was no record. This led to a poor follow-up with the candidate and in turn increased the time to hire. There was limited reports and insights due to the distinct nature of job postings. So John was looking into a specific system where he can manage his hiring process and employee management as well. So John found himself with a system called as Zoho One, which is a bundle of applications, almost 45, which John used to manage his daily needs of his organization. John used Zoho Sites to create a site for his organization. John used Zoho Campaigns to send out mass email as well as SMS campaigns to his leads and nurture them. John made use of Zoho CRM to drive his complete sales pipeline, and Zoho Sign to complete his document signature and collect legal signatures from his customers. And John was able to make use of Zoho Recruit and Zoho People to complete his hiring and employee management part of his organization. So let's talk about Zoho Recruit and Zoho People. So Zoho Recruit is Zoho's ATS system, which is application tracking system, which is used to post job openings across multiple job boards. John used Zoho Recruit to conduct pre-screening assessments and review candidates right from the system. John was able to use Zoho Recruit to engage with follow-up activities with his candidates, such as emails, SMSs, and WhatsApp integration as well. John used to Recruit to conduct live interviews, be it face-to-face interviews, recorded interviews, as well as video interviews. John was able to create offer letters right from Zoho Recruit system without needing any third-party systems. So these are a few key points available in Zoho Recruit. Moving on to Zoho People. Zoho People is an employee management system where John used to store his employees' personal information and data. John used to conduct candidate and employee onboarding. The users in Zoho People were able to manage their attendance and leave, and also log time and create timesheets specific to their jobs. At the end of the year, John was also able to conduct performance appraisals. So these are a few key features available in Zoho People. And let's move on to the application's user interface. So this would be the user interface of Zoho Recruit. So when you start your publishing journey, you would be accessing the job openings module. So this module is very important for recruiters to start publishing the job openings across the career site as well as multiple job boards. You can click on the plus icon at the top to create a job posting manually or also import them by means of an Excel or a CSV file. Before you start your publishing journey with Zoho Recruit, there are a few key prerequisites that needs to be done. So first would be to complete your company profile verification. So head over to the settings in the top, and under portal setup, you can click on portals as an option. Here you would find a section called as company details, where you'll be able to enter in your company name, your company website, your primary contact, which is a user inside Zoho Recruit. You can provide a short description for your company profile, upload a company logo as well as a favicon. You can define your brand color by selecting a color in the scroll wheel, or also use hex values for the exact color code of your organization. This would automatically generate a portal URL which is specific to every Zoho Recruit organization. Once you complete your company profile verification, you would have access to specific key features such as the Zoho Recruit career site, job mailboxes, and resume inboxes. So a career site is Zoho's specific site which is created by the system, which allows you to showcase different job openings in a single place. So once you complete your company profile verification, you would be able to see all your published job openings in a single place. You can also create multiple career sites depending upon what job you're looking to showcast. You can also have the Zoho career site embedded into your company website in a specific web page so that your candidates can click and apply on jobs right from your company website. Zoho Recruit also offers integrations with multiple job boards available. So you can navigate into the setup part, click on job boards under Job Board Hub, which would give you the integration for job boards. So given that you have an account in the designated job board, you can simply enable, provide a few key details, and hit save. This would successfully integrate your Zoho Recruit organization with the designated job board. Moving on to job openings module. So let's create a job opening. So you can click on the plus icon at the top, which would provide you the job opening information form. You can provide key details such as the posting title. You can associate a department name for which this job opening is going to be posted to. You can define the number of positions available in your organization for the specific post. You can select a hiring manager for this specific job opening. You can define the title of this specific job post and assign recruiters as well. Under the required skills for the job opening, you can enter a skill which would auto-fetch the relevant skills from Zoho Recruit's skill pool. Apart from that, we do have the option to create multiple skill sets so that you can select the required skill set when you're creating a job opening and automatically associate all the skills. So this helps in eliminating recursive tasks. So once you're content with your job opening by providing your industry and salary, you can define your address information and a job description information, which would include the job description, the requirements, as well as a benefit as well. So once you're content with the opening, you can hit save. Another pro tip we have with creating job openings is the ability to select multiple job templates. So you can create predefined templates if it's a recurring job that you're going to be publishing. So you can select a template and modify it as well. Let me just fill in a few key details in this job post. Yeah. So once I fill in the key details, I can hit on save. So once my job opening is created, I'll be able to have it published. But before publishing, Zoho Recruit offers the option to add pre-screening assessments. So a pre-screening assessment is nothing but a questionnaire form that you can present your candidates in order to deem them hireable or rejectable right before they're filling the application. So in order to create a pre-screening assessment, let me navigate to the assessments module inside Zoho Recruit, where I'll have the option to create a pre-screening assessment. From here, I can select candidate assessment as an option. I can define my assessment name and select the type of assessment if it's going to be a pre-screening assessment. Here, I will have the option to enter my assessment questionnaire. I can define my questions for an assessment and select the question type. So when you hit question type, you'll have the option to have it as a subjective question or an objective question. You can select subjective question if you're looking to receive an answer from your customers or candidates, or you can select objective types to provide them objective types and options. You can provide weightage for each specific option, and you can define this as a qualifier question. When a specific question is marked as a qualifier question, you would be able to provide a unique weightage. So let's say if the weightage is equal to 10, only then the candidate would be marked as accepted. Else, it will auto reject the candidate right from the application form. So you can create multiple candidate assessments and associate them to job openings. Let me open up a pre-screening assessment that I've already created. So this would be a preview of the pre-screening assessment. And if you see the specific questionnaire, I have marked this specific question as mandatory. And I provided weightage for the specific options and marked this as a qualifier question. So my applicant would be marked as unqualified when the weightage of this specific question goes below 0. So once you've created your pre-screening assessment, you can navigate back to the job opening module. Under the pre-screening assessment related list, you can click on add existing assessment, select the assessment type, and associate the assessment. So now we have successfully associated an assessment with a job opening. So now the part is to publish. So when you click on the publish button at the top, you'll have options to publish to the associated job boards or to the Zoho Recruit career site. You'll also have the option to publish it on the career site and free job boards as well. Let me publish this job opening to the Zoho Recruit career site, where you'll be able to see a preview. So you would also have the option to enable filled, closed, unpublished jobs in the career site. So when this specific option is enabled, even though the job has been filled or closed, it will still be reflected in the career site in this specific manner. So your candidates will have an overview of what exactly are the job openings available, and you can also later unlock this job and increase the number of positions as well. So here you'll be able to see a preview of the assessment selected and hit on publish. So once you publish, you would have access to the job opening URL and also a shortened URL, and your job mailbox email would be generated. So recruiters can use this specific email to auto forward resumes to this specific job mailbox, which would automatically create an application inside this specific job opening. Let us see the hiring process of a candidate. So once a candidate accesses the job opening URL, which you can market towards your candidate in terms of emails or have it embedded into your website, they can click on the I'm interested button and upload their resume. So once they upload their resume, their information would automatically be pre-populated in the candidate application form by means of the Zoho Recruit's resume parser mapping. So they can always make changes to the application form as per their requirements. So once the candidate has filled in the required details, they can enter the required CAPTCHA and hit on next. Let me just enter this CAPTCHA. So once they click on next, they will be presented with the assessment that you have associated. So from here, they would be filling in the assessment questionnaire and providing the required information and clicking on submit assessment. This would successfully create an application towards a specific job opening. So you as an admin can navigate back to Zoho Recruit and just refreshing the page, you'll be able to view the application created in the system. So here you will be able to see that there is indeed an application created, and also in the candidate module, you'll be able to record the candidate as well. So now let's talk about the hiring process in Zoho Recruit. So once an application has been created, the recruiters can access the application record and submit the pre-screening assessment. So under the answered assessment section, you would be able to complete a review of the submitted pre-screening assessment for the candidate. So when you click on this specific answered assessment, as a recruiter, you can submit your review for this specific candidate. So click on the submit for review button where you'll be able to provide a rating for this candidate and move the application to the next hiring pipeline. So you can hit on save, which would save the rating. So this is how you would review the pre-screening assessment submitted by the candidate. Other recruiters can also provide their reviews for candidates by clicking on the submit review button. So selecting submit review, they can select a general review or a screening review where the recruiter would be able to select a predefined assessment form and proceed. So the recruiters would be able to provide their review for this candidate based upon the assessment questionnaire. And they can define the overall rating of the candidate and move them to the next hiring pipeline as well. So once your recruiters have reviewed a specific candidate, you can submit this candidate to the end hiring manager to deem him rejectable or hireable. So under the hiring manager submission related list, you can click on submit to hiring manager. Here you'll be able to associate a hiring manager email template created and hit on the send button. So this would send out an email to the hiring manager associated with the job opening so that he can end review this specific candidate. So once you have sent the candidate to the hiring manager, you'll be able to record the submission in the hiring manager submission related list. Now, the hiring manager of Zoho Recruit or the job opening can access this specific submission from the submissions module or access the application, click on submission name and provide his review for the submission. So when you click on review submission button as a hiring manager, they can provide the overall rating for the specific application and provide their approval. So now the hiring manager has successfully approved the candidate. So the next step would be to schedule interviews. So navigating back into the application, you would have the interview related list in the left. Using this, you can schedule formal interviews, which would be a face-to-face interview, video interviews, which would include recorded interviews as well as live interviews. A recorded interview would send out a link to the candidate, which they'll be answering the questionnaire, the assessment associated, and a live interview would be conducted by a user in Zoho Recruit or a recruiter in Zoho Recruit, and it will be a live session. Apart from that, you'll also have the option to log an interview if you've already conducted an interview in the past for the candidate. So you can select an interview type and provide the interview name. So if it's going to be a general interview or an online interview or such, you can define the department, candidate name, posting title, which would be auto-selected from the application record, and you can define the time of the interview which is going to be held. You can associate interviewers for this specific interview and also associate an interview assessment. So from here, you'll be able to associate an assessment, which would be an interview assessment. To create an interview assessment, you can navigate into the assessments module of Zoho People, where you'll be able to create multiple interview assessments. So under assessments, you can click on the plus button here, and then you can create an interview assessment. So this interview assessment would be used by the recruiters after the interview process to evaluate the candidate. You can choose the rating type as a thumb rating or a star rating and define your assessment questionnaire. You can add multiple questionnaires in this specific interview assessment and have them have an assessment associated to the interview record. So once you save the interview, you can send out an invite to the specific candidate. So this would trigger an email to the candidate which they would receive. So during the interview time, the recruiters can access the interview and submit their end evaluation for the candidate. So make sure that please note that this evaluation will be only accessible once the scheduled time has crossed. So if you have already scheduled interviews with candidates, you can access these interview and submit their evaluation. So when you click on submit for evaluation, you can fill in the required questionnaire from here and submit the overall rating and move the candidate to the next hiring pipeline. So this is where you would decide the candidate as hired, strongly hired, or on hold, or even rejected. So once your interview process is completed and your candidate has accepted the interview, you can now generate offer letters for the application. So navigating back into the application record, you would have the offer letter related list in the left. So you can click on generate offer letter and choose an offer letter template. So you can create tailored offer letter templates for specific job openings. So this would be done from Zoho Recruit. Under setup, you can click on templates under the customization section and click on offer templates. So this is where you can create offer letter templates, and we also have the option to include merge fields into the template so that this would be auto-populated with data from the application or offer record. So it's not necessary to manually create an offer template every time you create. So you can include merge fields so that when you generate an offer letter, this would be auto-populated with the values from the application or offer record. So you can select an offer template when you're generating an offer letter and choose to send this as an e-sign document. So when you choose with e-sign Zoho Sign, Zoho Recruit integrates with Zoho Sign as a signing system to send this offer letter for signature to the candidate. So that integration would be set up under the settings part. So when you go on the setup, you can click on Marketplace. And in the Marketplace, you can install the Zoho Sign for Zoho Recruit integration. And so you can have this integration configured. So once you have integrated your Zoho Recruit with the Zoho Sign, you can send out the offer letters for signature. Let's do a live test and see how exactly the candidate would be signing this document. So when you click on with e-sign Zoho Sign, this would be auto-associated with the posting title, department name, candidate name. You can associate the employment information, such as how much would be the compensation amount, his employment type, if it's going to be a contracted or a permanent employee. You can define the expected date of joining, of when exactly when the candidate has to join the organization. This would auto select an offer owner, and you can define an expiry date for this specific signed document, so that if this signature is not completed within the mentioned expiry date, it will be auto expired. You can hit on the preview offer letter button, which would give you a preview of what exactly the document would be when the candidate views it. Once you're able to see the preview of the document, you can click on cancel to make a few modifications, or click on generate offer letter, which would take you to the extension part. Here you can click on next button and add a signer field to the specific document. So this would load in a Zoho Sign interface where you'll be able to include a signature field and also multiple other fields such as a stamp, his initial, his image, his full name, and also the signing date. So once you've added the required signer fields, you can click on send, which would send an email to the end candidate along with to sign the document. So this would be recorded under the offer letter related list as well, where you'll be able to track the status of the document which is sent. Apart from that, you can add notes as a recruiter and additional attachments to this specific application or candidate record. If you have integrated your Zoho Recruit with an SMS gateway, you can send out SMSs from Zoho Recruit's application module itself. Apart from that, you can create multiple follow-up activities such as tasks, meetings, as well as calls. Zoho Recruit also integrates with a cloud-based telephony provider so that you can make and receive calls right from Zoho Recruit's interface. You can send follow-up emails, which would be tracked in the emails module, and create multiple checklists for the specific candidate, which are tasks. So moving on to the signature part, this would be the candidate's mailbox. Here you can see I have received an email to complete a digital signature. So the candidate can click on start signing over here and complete the digital signature for his offer letter. So he can accept to the terms and conditions and provide his signature. And here you can see it will auto-populate the sign date as I've added the sign date field of Zoho Sign. So once the digital signature is completed, the candidate will be able to download a copy of the signed document or click on email to me or also print it directly. So once the digital signature has been completed, you can head over into Zoho Recruit as an administrator where you'd be able to view the application state, the offer letter status as well. So here you can see the status has been changed to offer made. So this is the digital signature process, and this would auto move the candidate to the offer made hiring pipeline. So as a recruiter, you can move this candidate to the next stage and set into offer accepted or hired as per your convenience. Another few key features we have with Zoho Recruit is the ZIA rating. So once you open the application job opening module, select a specific job opening, and under the applications, you would have this ZIA rating part. So ZIA as an AI assistant would automatically match the candidate and provide a percentage of matching based upon the relevant skills associated in the job opening record and the application record. So ZIA would analyze the candidate record and provide you ratings. Also, we have the option to find the right job opening from the candidate record using the find matching job openings button. So ZIA would automatically analyze all the job openings available in your recruit organization and provide you the best match for the right suit for the candidate. So moving on to the job opening module, we also have the sourcing summary section where you'll be able to view a quick overview of the job opening, and you can have master control over where the job opening has been published. So this is where you can individually unpublish the job opening in multiple job boards. You will have access to the job mailbox email address from here as well. So once you've generated an offer letter for your application, you can now convert this application into a user in Zoho People. So now, as my offer letter is accepted, I can choose either to convert this as an employee in my organization or push to the onboarding module of Zoho People. So this integration is powered by the Zoho Recruit Zoho People integration, for which I would be completing by navigating into the setup. And under Zoho, under Marketplace, you'll have Zoho as an option where you'll be able to set up the Zoho People integration. So once you click on Manage, you can map the fields between the candidate in Zoho People and the candidate in Zoho Recruit by providing the required field mapping. And when you select Employee module, you can map the employee fields in Zoho People with the candidate fields in Zoho Recruit. Apart from that, we also have the option to automatically move the candidate to Zoho People when a specific stage is attained. Here you'll be able to select a stage when the candidate is hired or offer accepted to automatically transfer the data from Zoho Recruit to Zoho People. Here you'll be able to choose an action to automate. That is, if you're looking to push them to the onboarding module as a candidate or directly convert them as an employee. You'll also have the option to push the offer details from Zoho Recruit to the record in Zoho People. So when you're setting up this integration, please make sure that you have mapped all the required fields in this integration part so that no information is left behind. Also, please make sure that the field data types between the fields match so that you'll be able to match them in the integration part. So moving on to converting a user in Zoho Recruit, you can navigate back to the candidate record who has accepted the offer, click on the three-dot icon and click on push to onboarding. So now you would be presented with a push to onboarding form where you can fill in a few missed out details and click on the convert button. So this would successfully convert the candidate from Zoho Recruit to a candidate in Zoho People. So now you can open up a Zoho People organization. You can click on the operations at the bottom and access the onboarding module, where you'll be able to see the created candidate as a candidate inside the onboarding module. You can now click on select the candidate and click on trigger onboarding. So when you trigger an onboarding process for this candidate, this would send an invitation link to the candidate record, which they have to accept and fill in a few key details. So when you access the candidate's mailbox, or when the candidate accesses mailbox, he would be able to see the welcome email of the candidate onboarding process. So he can accept the portal link from here and create a password to access the candidate onboarding portal of Zoho People. Let me just enter a quick password. Just confirming the password. And I can hit create. So once the password matches, the candidate will be able to access the candidate onboarding portal and provide his details. So here you can see that the data from Zoho Recruit is auto-populated to the candidate record in Zoho People. Here the candidate would be able to manually correct any of his key details depending upon the permission provided. So once the details are mentioned, the candidate would be navigated to an additional form section. So you can create a multiple forms and associate them to the candidate onboarding flow if you're looking to collect any additional details or documents from the candidate. So under forms documents, you will be able to add any additional forms in the candidate onboarding flow. So once the required data has been entered by the candidate, you will have the documents and policy section for the candidate. So the candidate can view the documents that needs to be read and the documents that needs to be signed. We have two different signature processes in Zoho People onboarding, which one would be the acceptance. So you can add documents that needs to be accepted by the candidate and a few documents that needs to be signed by the candidate. So once the accepted document has been accepted, they would be able to view any documents that are added under signature process. So the candidate would be able to complete a digital signature using the Zoho People Zoho Sign integration from the candidate onboarding portal itself. So the process of signature would be quite similar, where they'll be able to provide the signature and hit on finish. So now this document has been signed and they'll be able to move on to the next. So let me complete the signature process for all the documents associated to the onboarding portal. So now when the signature has been successfully completed by the candidate, they are good to go. Now they will be able to select the complete onboarding. And if any documents are left unsigned, they would receive this specific error message as well. So they can navigate back into the documents and policies and complete their signature. Okay, so now let's complete the onboarding from the candidate's perspective. So now the candidate has completed his onboarding process, which would be tracked in Zoho People as well. So once we refresh the tab in Zoho People, we will be able to see the status as completed by candidate. So If the recruiter or HR in Zoho People needs to make a few changes in the candidate details, they can always edit the candidate record and provide the required information, like filling in their official email address and their organizational details as well, such as the company that the candidate is associated to, his business unit, his division, and salary, and so on. So once the required departments are selected and mandatory fields are made, they can hit on the submit button and complete the candidate's onboarding from the HR's perspective. So here you'll be able to select the candidate and mark as completed. Once the candidate onboarding has been completed, now you'll be able to successfully convert this candidate to a user inside Zoho People or an employee profile. So to provide a description between a user and an employee profile, a user in Zoho People is a licensed user who has access to the system. So only employees added as a user in Zoho People will have access to the Zoho People ecosystem, and users added as an employee profile will not have access to any specific Zoho applications. So employee profiles would be mainly used for blue collar employees such as maintenance staff, cab drivers, and so on. So if you need to manage only the data of the user in Zoho People, such as attendance on leave by a HR, you can add users as employee profile, which would not require a full license count. So once you click on the invite user button, this would send out an invitation email to the candidate to accept the Zoho One invitation. So let's see how this onboarding process is configured in Zoho People. So now we head over to the settings in Zoho People, and under the onboarding module, you'll be able to see the candidate onboarding flow. So once you access the candidate onboarding flow, under the welcome aboard, you can add a home page video URL which the candidate can access. Make sure that this URL is a public URL. You'll be able to select a HR partner who is associated to the candidate onboarding, but fear not, this HR partner will nowhere be visible during the candidate onboarding process, as the employee is not yet, as the candidate is not yet an employee in your organization. Under the profile section, this would be auto-populated with the candidate or profile form, where they'll be able to input their personal details. Under forms, you can create additional forms such as documents or any additional forms that needs to be associated during the candidate onboarding process. To do so, you can navigate to the extended services part, where you'll be able to create multiple candidate forms, which can be then associated in the onboarding flow. Under documents and policies, you can add documents to be read and documents to be accepted. So to add a document in the candidate onboarding flow, you can do it from the files module of Zoho People. So when you access Zoho People and you navigate to the operations part, you will have a module such as files. So under files, you can select organization files and add your required documents from here. So once you click on the add organization file, you can select the desktop to pull the document from your desktop, or also we have an integration with Zoho Workdrive, so you can select a document that you have added to your Zoho Workdrive account. You can provide a name for the file and select whom it should be shared with. So in order to add the document in the candidate onboarding flow, make sure that you're enabling the share with entire organization checkbox, so that this document would be accessible to the company and you'll be able to select it in the candidate onboarding flow as well. So once you've added your required documents to be read, you can create multiple merge templates in Zoho People and have the document signature type assigned. So you can define either to be it as accepted or declined, or select a signing partner by completing the Zoho Sign integration or DocuSign or any specific signing integration in Zoho People. So for that, you can navigate to the setup, and under marketplace, you'd be able to see Zoho as an option, where you'll be able to complete the Zoho Sign integration by just clicking on integrate. Third-party integrations are also available inside Zoho, so you can complete any other integrations as well for a signing partner. So once you have defined the signature type, you can hit on the preview onboarding button to have an overview of what exactly would be the feel when for a candidate onboarding as a HR administrator. Also, we have the option to create checklists, which are nothing but as tasks that needs to be assigned to any other employee in Zoho People, namely the HR or manager once the candidate has completed his onboarding. So you can create multiple checklists and associate different tasks and define a task owner as well. So once you've created a checklist, you can create different tasks with a display name and define the priority level. You can set the task owner as to a specific user in the department, a role, or any specific form field to assign them as a task owner. You can define a due date as to within which specific time this task should be marked as completed or completed by the user in Zoho people. So once the task has been completed, you can trigger follow-up actions as well, like by sending an email alert, making a field update, and also calling a custom function inside the system. So this is the complete candidate onboarding process inside Zoho people. So now, when the candidate is converted to an employee, please make sure that you have enough user licenses in your Zoho One organization, as Zoho One is completely a license-driven software. So once the candidate has been completed in an employee, you can access, as an administrator, you can access the Zoho One directory, where you would be able to view the pending invite of the candidate in your Zoho One account. So this would be the complete journey of a candidate in terms of a Zoho One ecosystem and how you would be managing your hiring process.